Hey there. It's been a minute, hasn't it? I promise there's a good reason. If you couldn't tell from that montage and my new surroundings, we moved. And I've been gone for so long for a couple of reasons. Our move was not an easy one. We weren't just getting a better space across town. No, we moved to the complete other side of the country. Needless to say, it was a very involved and very stressful process. But we did it. And just as we had really got settled in, yeah, I'm guilty. I have been playing Legends ZA like crazy, and I wanted to enjoy that just a little bit before I got back into the swing of things. But I'm ready to do that now, so let's get into the packs. Couple of throwbacks for this video, with Astral Radiance and Silver Tempest, the Seasoned Curry, Electrode, Gardenia's Vigor, Petty Ursa, Mantine, Scyther, Basculin, Voltorb, Magnezone, Machamp, Slurpuff, Haunchcrow, Raichu, Beldum, Stunfisk, Vulpix, Snorunt, Fletchling, Morpeko, Metagross. We're kicking things off with Magnezone. There were a handful of unique options for this hunt, but ultimately, I decided to hunt these 3 flying Magnezone in the Coronet Highlands. To my knowledge, aside from this random Magnezone, these 3 in Legends Arceus are the only way of finding a wild Magnezone in all of Pokemon. After some trial and error, I found a really efficient route that only takes about a minute to see all 3. I, of course, have the Shiny Charm, as well as a perfected Pokedex entry for Magnezone, so my Shiny odds shoot up from 1 in 4096 to 1 in 585 for standard spawns. And it did not take too long for the first Shiny of the video to appear. Dang it. This was bound to happen. On average, this route runs by about 20 Pokemon, and with only 3 of them being Magnezone, the odds of phasing were really high. But hopefully, it does not become a pattern. Dude, why do you always do this? You know what's about to happen. Yeah. Right? I do. Again. Dude. Oh my god. Really? Oh my. Dude. Dude. Add it to the list. What? Is it the alpha? Oh. Oh my god. Dude. No. Around her. Oh my god. This took so long. Yeah, you see that 323 playtime? I'm 90% sure that started at 316 in this process. Like, look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Gligar. Plus 5 other shinies. Jeez. I stopped counting after 100 runs, but I imagine this was somewhere in the 400 to 500 range. Well over odds. We are off to Route 15 in Kanto looking for shiny Scyther. This is a rare spawn for the route, so I decided to build up a catch combo of Pidgey first to help get the Scyther spawns more consistent. I mostly stuck to these two patches of grass down here, as that is both where most of the spawns will come from, but it is also very close to the route gate, so I can go and reset the spawns if I felt the universe was dealing me a bad hand. With the shiny charm, an active lure, and a catch combo of at least 31, which I achieved here, the shiny odds are 1 in 273, but that applies to specifically the next spawn after a successful catch. For every other spawn, the odds are 1 in 1024, and with Scyther being a rare spawn, that means there are only ever 2 or 3 max on the screen at any given time. But that doesn't matter, as the first shiny to appear was a rare spawn. Oh, that's so annoying. Well, see ya. Just not the one I wanted. Starting in Mount Moon, Chansey becomes a rare spawn in just about every land area in the game, so it being a shiny is not that uncommon for any shiny hunt in the Let's Go games. Not even Chansey, though, was gonna throw me off my game. Oh! Oh! Yes! Oh my god, it's so good. Amazing. Was this the quickest Let's Go hunt I've done? Yeah. Oh, look at him. Yeah, him. If we rewind the tape here, this Scyther was not the next spawn. In fact, it was like the 3rd or 4th spawn after my successful catch. So this Scyther was definitely at the 1 in 1024 odds. Pretty sweet. We are back in Legends Arceus, looking for a shiny Mantine in the Cobalt Coastlands. Astral Radiance's card list consists mostly of Pokemon that can be found in Legends Arceus, so if you start to notice like half of this video taking place in that game, there's your explanation. The route is pretty simple. Start at the Coastlands camp, and then just kind of go back and forth over the sea here in the middle. There are nearly 30 spawns of either Mantine and Mantike with this route. I could have added another 10 or so Mantike by going further west, but decided I just wanted the bulk here in the middle to be a little bit quicker about it. There was one massive mass outbreak with a Mantike that popped up, but no luck there, and the bulk of my hunt was spent traversing the treacherous waters of Hisui. Constantly on the hunt for my white whale. Not even Poseidon himself could keep me from my treasure. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. Where? You? Oh no, you. Oh, where'd you go? There you are. Not exactly what I was going for, but that's good enough. And then Mantike can only evolve while the Remoraid is in the party, so I just grabbed one of these really quick, and then Mantine was officially claimed. After swearing off the Ultra Wormholes in the last TCG video, Stunfisk became a bit of a conundrum. There's always the Masuda method, which I no longer absolutely despise after my luck last time, and it is also in the Friend Safari, which might actually be my method with the worst luck, considering I've had back-to-back 2,000 plus encounter shiny hunts. Decisions. Ultra Wormholes are back and better than ever. The odds are just too good not to use this method. And like clockwork, I found a shiny I wasn't looking for. I knew it would happen. I knew it would happen, dude. The first shiny I get in this one would be a Floatzel. I knew it would happen. And another. Poo-poo. And then a legendary taking up the shiny chance. I usually leave the legendaries out for 2 reasons. 1, they're never shiny, and 2, they're annoying. However, the level 4 wormholes have nearly a 40% chance of yielding a shiny, and the only way to access those odds is by catching every single legendary Pokemon in that wormhole color. So that's what I did. I caught all 5 legendaries in the blue wormholes, so that whenever a level 4 wormhole appeared, I could actually utilize that really high shiny chance. And this strategy immediately paid off, but of course, not for what I was looking for. I'm gonna be really mad if this is Floatzel. Dude. Go ahead and add in another 2 phases before I actually found what I was looking for. Yes, yes. Okay, I think that's the strategy moving forward, is to catch all the legendaries in the particular wormhole I need so that I could, because this was a level 4 wormhole. Large, buff, 4-armed man, Machamp is next. And you guessed it, I headed back to Legends Arceus for this hunt. And if you hadn't guessed that, I think your pattern recognition skills need improvement. My main strategy was to head to the Alabaster Icelands to check the Alpha Machamp, because that would be super cool to get, and then deviate when an appropriate outbreak pops up. The main route only has like 4 spawns, including Machamp, so the chances I find a shiny Bergmite before Machamp are... You? Like 100%. Okay. He's laughing. See, he laughed at me. There were a handful of massive mass outbreaks that popped up, but no luck with those. At least with the outbreak themselves. Okay. That's the same one. Then I found this outbreak, which was guaranteed to have a second wave of either Machamp or Machoke, and it was indeed a second wave full of Machamp. Don't be Alpha Machoke. Okay. No! What? That works. That's perfectly okay. Taking a stab with the X and Y radar again for the appropriately Gen 6 Pokemon, Slurpuff. Well, Swirlix first, and then getting the trait evolution. There's a really nice patch of grass on Route 7 in X where you can find Swirlix. Some of you may remember this area as the first area when a little duck tormented my dreams to no end. But Swirlix is a much rarer spawn than Ducklet here, and a whopping 5%. So just finding one to start a radar chain was a cumbersome task, but eventually I found one, and that chain went surprisingly well. That is, until... Why? Yeah, I was just a little bit upset with this one. So I spent another chunk of time finding Swirlix again, only for the next chain to break at 3. I promise I am having fun. Swirlix round 3 eventually got to a chain of 40. I'm back. Heavy emphasis on the word eventually, and an undetermined but assuredly lengthy time later, I got sparkly grass. Yes! Yes, okay, sweet. I don't have another 3DS to do trait evolutions with, but I do still have my OG Switch that I no longer use with the arrival of the Switch 2. So I can very easily use these two to play with myself. That was such a poor choice of words. Anyways, I moved the shiny Swirlix from X to home to Sword. Swirlix needs to be holding a Whipped Dream when traded to evolve into Slurpuff. You can buy the trade items with battle points, but alas, I was broke. I was trying to find the best way to go about the battle tower in Sword so I could get the 10 BP I needed for the Whipped Dream when I discovered something truly incredible. Did you know that as you transfer all kinds of Pokemon into home, you earn Home points? Did you also know that you can convert these home points into battle points in Sword and Shield? Me neither, so I chose that super easy route, set up the trade between my two switches, and voila, shiny Slurpuff. It is once again time for...
Say the line, Bart!
Legends Arceus.
Yay!
This time, I am on the lookout for a shiny Raichu. Similar to Machamp, my main route involved passing by the Alpha Raichu in the Crimson Mirelands, and then hitting up any outbreaks. This started off by flying around and checking out the Alpha. Obviously no luck in that department, but it also took quite a bit of time for a good outbreak to show up. And the first relevant mass outbreak I came across had not one, but two Pichu outbreaks. Nothing came of it, sure, but I had some renewed hope. Eventually, a special Pikachu outbreak appeared, and once again, I was very likely guaranteed a second wave of Raichu. The second wave was Raichu, but I was not as fortunate with it as I was with Machamp. However, this presented a very interesting option when it comes to the massive mass outbreaks in Legends Arceus. If an outbreak has a second wave, you can influence the unique Pokemon that appear in that second wave. Welcome to the absolute debauchery that is outbreak permutations. It basically boils down to if you change the way the Pokemon in the first wave are despawned, it changes how the Pokemon in the second wave are generated. And of course, the internet has a tool for tracking this. So for the first row here, you simply catch all the Pokemon in the first wave, which is what I did. Then I catch the first Pokemon and knock out two Pokemon at the same time. You just need to be in battle with at least two, knock out two, then leave the battle. What is happening is that the game is registering those two knockouts as a despawn at the same time. If you have a different despawn element, you have a different spawn element. For example, here are the first 4 spawns of my first attempt, 4 normal Raichu, and here are the first 4 spawns of my 18th attempt. 3 normal Raichu, and an Alpha. It did not take me 18 attempts to get unique spawns. It took me 18 attempts to get unique spawns that are very easily distinguished on a video without me logging on and showing you all of their levels and gender. My initial wave consisted of 9 Pokemon, which means there are 49 permutations I can do that will yield unique second waves. And I was really testing the limits on how many permutations I could go through before a shiny showed up or I gave up. And finally, on the 28th permutation, I hit a breakthrough. What? Okay. I mean, that's the whole point. Something I left out is that this will also affect the other Pokemon that spawn in the first wave. Since only 4 can be spawned in the outbreak at once, there are certain points at which getting rid of the first 4 to 6 in a unique way yields a different result for the final 2 to 4 in the wave, which is what happened here. Heading back to X and Y for some fishing. I'm specifically looking for a Basculin in the Pokemon Village. With a good rod, Basculin has an encounter rate of 70%, which is pretty good, but it isn't 100%. So there is a decent chance that a shiny Poliwhirl, which makes up the other 30%, will appear. And you can really sense my panic every time the silhouette is not a Basculin. Don't. 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 Okay. Don't. 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 Oh, I didn't think it would be as noticeable. I do so love it when a shiny hunt is uncomplicated. Honchkrow is on deck, and surely You know the drill by this point. That's right, another flyby the alpha, and check out the outbreaks in Legends Arceus. Several of these flybys really fly by before the first outbreak with a Murkrow in it appeared. But alas, no shiny, or even a second wave for some permutation experiments. There are far more extra spawns on the Alpha Honchkrow route, and naturally, I found one of those shiny. A bug. Bug. Then I caught a break, and a Murkrow outbreak with a second wave appeared. Permutations? Do your thing. Yeah, I got bored with this one after like 30 permutations and called it quits. Back to flying around. That is, until a few days later, another Murkrow outbreak with a second wave showed up. It was starting to look like the first set of permutations, but on attempt 15, I found it. Oh, yes! Finally! Look at it. Oh, so good. For Teddy Ursa, I am embarking on a very unique Gen 4 Pokeradar hunt. You see, in Gen 4, Teddy Ursa is what's known as a GBA insert Pokemon, meaning it would appear in the Gen 4 games as long as you had the specific Gen 3 Game Boy Advance game inserted into your DS. Teddy Ursa requires Emerald to be inserted, and Emerald being the only Gen 3 game I currently own, I thought it would prove to be a very unique hunt, especially considering my setup, seeing as I do not have a capture card for a DS. Teddy Ursa can be found on Route 211 in all 3 Sinnoh games, but can also be found in Lake Acuity and Platinum, which is where I hunted for it. And I really had to hunt for it. My chain broke in the 20s and 30s 3 consecutive times. Well, oh, my stupid finger. Oh. But the 4th chain did the trick, as did spreading it out over multiple days, hence the wardrobe change. And in true radar fashion, the shiny took forever to appear after reaching the 40 chain. Oh. Oh, I'm so white. Uh-oh. I lost track of the other pet. Hold on. Okay, I looked back at the footage. I know about where it is, but more importantly, I know where the other ones are and how to avoid them. Okay. And it's ugly. That sucked. Vulpix is another Pokemon that appears in Legends Arceus, so we'll start this hunt in Mount Pyre of Omega Ruby. Ha! I bet you thought I was going back to Legends Arceus. You thought wrong. Gotta keep you on your toes. But this was no ordinary Dexnav hunt. I was visiting my parents in Florida, and naturally, we went to Epcot, and I so expertly brought along my 3DS to do a little bit of shiny hunting while waiting in lines. Our first ride of the day was Soarin', which was posting about a 30-minute wait at the time. I pulled out the pocket-sized console and got to work. Here's what my setup looked like.
Got my mobile hunting unit set up. It's very complicated, very expensive.
No luck in Soren. The next stop was a tour, a grand fiesta tour. But no luck there either. As we approached Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, I felt a shift in the universe. This was posting about a 45-minute wait, and I was determined to hunt for that entire time. That is, until I found it about 10 minutes into that wait.
Yeah.
Shiny?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
This was on a chain of 35, by the way. Incredibly under odds. Here's the rest of Cosmic Rewind.
Our cultural and art centers are renowned.
That's Athens.
Welcome, people of Epcot, Epcoters, Epcotians, citizens of Epcot. Does anyone know what they call themselves? What? I'm on? Someone needs to tell me when I'm on. Welcome, Epcot Terrans.
Noise. No one's gonna stop rock and roll from existing. What have we done?
I think we're jumping back.
It's about time. Of course it's about time. You got the pain, but not for long.
After some unique hunts, Snow Runt will be a fairly simple SOS hunt in Ultra Sun and Moon, or so I thought. As a refresher, the goal is to get the Pokemon to successfully SOS for another Pokemon by constantly knocking out one of them and essentially ignoring the other. Once you get to 31 successful SOS calls in a single encounter, the shiny odds, with Shiny Charm, improve all the way to 1 in 273. And the best way to keep the Pokemon sending out the SOS calls alive is to give it a Lepid Berry and the Harvest ability so it doesn't eventually knock itself out with Struggle Recoil. But Snorunt has an additional curveball. The Snorunt found at the base of Mount Lanakila are in the level 30 to 33 range. That means most of the Snorunt that I find or are called will know the moves Bite, Ice Fang, Headbutt, and Protect, and any below level 32 will also know Icy Wind. These Snorunt are Stunlock machines. The attacking moves all have a chance to cause my Pokemon to flinch, and Ice Fang can also freeze. Couple that with the lower level Snorunt using Icy Wind and lowering my speed, Skarmory, and more importantly, my sanity, are in for a rough time. Oh my god, thaw out! What the heck? Thaw out! Oh my god, dude! This is stupid! I know I have full restores. It's a matter of principle! Oh my god. Stop stun-locking me! I've had it with this stupid Snorunt, dude! Ah! But aside from that absurdity, this was a fairly boring and long hunt. The only other noteworthy thing that happened was one of my cats becoming overly fascinated by the light reflecting off of my 3DS. It's Cosmo. Oh! Oh! This was so stupid. This took hours. Beldum, and by extension Metagross, are up next. I went back to Platinum to do a radar hunt. Same place as the Cacnea from the last video, on Route 228, in the Sandstorm. But as a swarm Pokemon, it of course only spawns on Route 228 when that particular swarm is active. So some date skipping shenanigans are in order. If you set the time to just before midnight, boot up the game, and wait for the day to tick over, you will effectively be resetting the swarm and not date locking the game. And you may be thinking to yourself, his game is in Japanese. How is he gonna know when the swarm is the one he needs? I simply learned enough Japanese to be able to tell.
Ignore the fact that Beldum is the only swarm Pokemon on Route 228 and the numbers are still in the traditional Arabic numerals.
Now, if you've ever tried to catch a Beldum before, you know that its catch rate is absolutely abysmal. With full HP and using an Ultra Ball, Beldum has a catch rate of 0.83%, not 83%, not 8.3%, 0.83%. And that goes up to a whopping 2.83% if it has 1 HP left and a status condition. Except I wouldn't advise that either because Beldum only knows the move Takedown, a hit song from the movie K-Pop Demon Hunters, but also a recoil move that will feint it if it only has 1 HP. My initial strategy involved throwing a quick ball, doing a little bit of damage, and then just chucking an ungodly amount of Ultra Balls, praying it would eventually work. As a reminder, catching the Pokemon is the most efficient way of progressing a chain, with a 98% chance of continuing the chain in Gen 4. If the Pokemon is instead knocked out, the chance of continuing drops to 88%, which is worse than the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl Pokeradar. However, my combination of trying my best to catch it and then just shrugging my shoulder when it eventually knocks itself out proved decent, at least up until the very end. I'm gonna curse. This sucks. Since that method is so incredibly slow, I just changed it up and knocked out all the Beldum I ran into. The chance of getting to a chain at 40 is significantly lower, but this is way quicker to get through encounters, so if my chain broke, it would not take literal hours to build it back up. And you know what? It worked. My second chain got to 40 by just knocking out the Beldum, and then the shiny patch showed up. My shiny patch was an edge tile, which means as soon as I encountered the shiny Beldum, my chain would break. I decided to just encounter this one and go from there. And it took me nearly 15 minutes to catch this stupid Beldum. This is stupid. Oh, that sucked. 15 minutes almost? Y'all, I was about 2 turns from using my Master Ball so I could call it quits and leave. And I'm pretty sure, yep, chain broke. Because it's an edge tile. But now I was faced with the dilemma of how to get a second shiny Beldum to evolve into Metagross. Do I try the knockout method for Pokeradar again, or do I try elsewhere? Of course I tried elsewhere. Did you not just see what I had to go through for one Beldum? Last on the list are Voltorb and Electrode. These two took me back to the Let's Go games and the power plant location. Both of them actually spawn here, but my main priority was catching Voltorb. And much like Scyther, it did not take very long for the first shiny to show up. Oh, yes! Come here. Yes! Woohoo! Is that 109? 'Twas. Need one more. But then nothing for so long. Well, and then there was another very long, very dull period before I got something, albeit not in Let's Go. And then another shiny I wasn't looking for. That's messed up, dude. Oh, come on, man. Followed by everyone's favorite phase in the Let's Go games. But eventually, I reached 1,000 Voltorb caught. Did you know that the catch combo actually won't go above 999? I didn't either. Found that out the hard way. The nearly 900 Voltorb I caught after my initial shiny kinda broke me. So I decided to cut bait and return to where this video began, Legends Arceus. I promptly found my final shiny for this video and gave it a leaf stone to evolve. And that's all I got for this video. I started working on this one a couple weeks before we moved, so I knew it would be pretty delayed in getting it out, and that is also why there are only 2 packs and 16 shiny hunts. But again, apologies for taking so long to get back. The whole process of selling a house and moving across the country is a nightmare. But we ended up where we needed to be, and we are so much happier for it. I also wanted to take this time to announce something. I'm gonna start streaming on Twitch. Since I'm not exactly sure when this video is gonna be coming out, I will let the editor announce when my first stream will be. He makes me do everything, I swear. Wednesday, December 17th at 5 p.m. Pacific. Thank you, editor. I hope you can join me over at twitch.tv/AlexanderTheGreatishYT. Link will be in the description. My initial plan will be to stream from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific, which is 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, on Wednesdays and Sundays, but that is definitely subject to change. Once again, thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.